When Jayant and Neelima moved for work, they chose a house on the outskirts of Meerut. The neighborhood was sparsely populated, placing a physical distance between their new home and the safety of a larger community. Their only nearby neighbors were an elderly couple raising 2 granddaughters. These neighbors remained distant and unapproachable, keeping their family life strictly behind closed doors. Late one night, Neelima looked out her window and saw the older granddaughter, Priya, standing on the edge of the opposite terrace, swaying slightly in the wind. She looked trance-like as she stared down at the ground. Neelima ran to the house to alert the grandparents, but when they reached the roof, no one was there. They found Priya in her room, seemingly fast asleep in her bed. The grandparents insisted Neelima had simply been dreaming. But for Neelima, the vivid image of the girl on the ledge didn't align with the sleeping child in the bedroom, leaving her to wonder exactly what she had seen in the dark. Shortly after the incident on the terrace, Neelima collapsed. A doctor confirmed she was pregnant. Jayant met the news with fear. They had lost 3 pregnancies in the past, and he urged her to consider a termination to protect her own health. Neelima's response was a refusal born of absolute certainty. She stated that this child would enter the world regardless of the risks or her own history of failure. Following this confrontation, Neelima's behavior toward the neighbors shifted. Under the guise of celebrating their anniversary, she invited the grandparents and the 2 girls over for dinner, persistently breaking down their reclusive boundaries. The evening appeared to be a simple gesture of neighborly warmth. In reality, the dinner served as the quiet starting point for a calculated plan targeting the family across the street. The aftermath of the dinner was immediate. That night, Priya violently attacked her younger sister, exhibiting a level of physical strength that her grandparents couldn't explain. The aggression soon turned inward. Priya began pulling out her own hair in clumps, leaving her scalp covered in bloody wounds. Doctors recommended immediate psychiatric hospitalization, but the grandparents, paralyzed by social stigma, refused to let Priya leave the house, ensuring they remained isolated with her escalating behavior. The crisis peaked when Priya armed herself with a kitchen knife, threatening to kill her family if they tried to come near her. By cutting themselves off from professional help, the grandparents created a desperate situation. They were now trapped in a house with a crisis they couldn't manage, waiting for anyone to offer a solution. Neelima arrived amid the chaos, presenting Jayant as a man with deep knowledge of tantric practices. She convinced the terrified family that his specific skills were the only way to save Priya. Jayant began a staged exorcism. The power was cut, leaving the house in candlelight, while Priya crawled across the floor, and Jayant's chanting filled the rooms. During the ritual, Priya was seen pressed into the dark upper corners of the ceiling. Neelima neutralized the girl by throwing what she called holy water, causing Priya to lose consciousness. Jayant used the family's shock to take full control. He insisted the grandparents evacuate the house for the night so he could perform a final, dangerous ritual to trap the entity permanently. By the next morning, Priya was missing. Jayant presented a forged note from the girl, claiming she had eloped to escape her restrictive life, a story the grandparents, exhausted by the night's events, accepted as truth. The family believed they had survived a haunting. In reality, they had been manipulated into surrendering their granddaughter to the very people they thought were saving them. 8 months later, Neelima is celebrating. She has given birth to a healthy baby boy, and her home is filled with the sounds of a happy family. But away from the guests, Neelima heads to a hidden basement room built beneath the house. Inside, Priya is securely chained to the cold concrete wall. She is alive, terrified, and heavily pregnant. Priya never eloped, and she was never possessed. She has been held as a prisoner in this basement for months, right across the street from her own home. The ghost story was a fabrication. The real threat was the helpful couple who used a staged haunting to facilitate a kidnapping. This diagram shows the mechanism of the Vashikaran. By lacing the anniversary dinner with graveyard ash, Neelima established a direct link to the victim's agency, allowing her to influence Priya's actions from afar. The spell induced the violent, erratic outbursts that the grandparents witnessed. Neelima then used these episodes to justify Jayant's intervention, turning a manufactured crisis into a reason to clear the house. Neelima's motive was biological. Her own body was unable to carry a child to term, leading her and Jayant to seek an occult solution that required a specific sacrifice. The pact they made required a life for a life. To ensure the survival of her own son, Neelima must sacrifice Priya's unborn child during the height of the dark lunar cycle on Kali Chowdas. The supernatural is often less dangerous than the lengths humans will go to when they are desperate. What do you think happened on that final night? Did Neelima complete the ritual, or is there a way out for Priya? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.